Shalom, friends and family. This is Sarah, and I just want to give you this quick message, this quick video. And when it's your time and it's your turn and you're coming out of your wilderness season, you're going into restoration, maybe God has let you know it's time for you to be restored, or it's time for you to walk in your blessings. It's time for you to possess your possessions and take your land. You got to take action. So, when Christ was in the wilderness, and he was in the wilderness all that time, and the devil kept trying to tempt him and say, hey, turn that stone, that bread into stone, and do all these things. He was trying to tempt him into being unfaithful to God, and just tempt him in so many ways. And so, we don't want to let our hearts get stony, right? By not believing God, or being unfaithful to God. So we got to stay faithful to God and keep our hearts. And that's what God tells us too. And he wants us to be good stewards of what he gives us. It's not just our money, our finances, our possessions, and the people and relationships he gives you and the opportunities he gives you, but he wants you to be a good steward of what he gives you. Keep your heart. Keep your heart. So when you come into Christ, he takes the stony heart away and he gives you a heart of flesh, but you got to keep your heart. And as Christians, we go through seasons where we need to come back to the Lord, and he does need to remove the stony heart from us. So when Christ was in that wilderness and the devil's tempting him and saying, oh, turn this bread into stone, he's trying to get Christ's heart to turn stony against God. He's trying to get his heart to turn stony in not believing God, or not staying faithful to the Lord's ways and the will of the Lord. And so he's, fighting those temptations, and to trust God, to believe God through that difficult period until he can come out of his wilderness, which he does. And then he, glorifies God thereafter. So this message is also to remind you that when you come out and it's your time of restoration, and God lets you know it's time for you to be restored, or you receive a word or prophetic word, it's time to be restored, it's time for you to take your possessions and take your land, you've got to take action. So you got to speak into the environment. You got to pray. You got to speak into the atmosphere and claim your possessions back. So under this video, I'm listing some prayers for you, and some warfare prayers of just taking it back and taking back your possessions. You can hear them, listen to them, but take action by praying the prayers and speaking them into the atmosphere, because the heavens suffer in violence and the violent take it by force. So just as King David, when he was in Ziklag with his men, and then the enemy was being the enemy and came and took his possessions and took the women and children, he didn't know what to do. And then his men started to turn on him, and he's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? He took it to the Lord. He did the right thing. He went straight to God first, and God responded to him, and God answered him, and God always will respond. Okay. God responded to him and told him, overtake. And so King David decided to be obedient to that. He didn't sit down and cry anymore. He trusted God. He's like, okay, he trusted God, and he got back up, and him and his men, and they went and overtake, and they got back all their possessions. They got back all their people, all of it, because God said overtake. Okay. So you got to do the same thing. So take action. Pray your prayers, pray your warfare prayers, and overtake. I'm listing them under this video. I pray this message bless you, help you, and strengthen you in the Lord. And your prayers matter. Your prayers work. Take it all back. And if you don't see all of it coming back, still you keep praying, and you don't stop. You pray without ceasing. You make your prayer lists. And we're coming close to the end of this year. This is the year of 2023. We're in the last quarter. And make your prayer list. Don't wait another day. Make your prayer list of what you want to see come to pass before this end of this year. And you pray on those prayer lists. Pray on them weekly. Pray on them daily. And keep praying and pressing in. I pray this message bless you, help you, encourage you, and strengthen you. Be blessed in Jesus' name.